guys, for a video geek and a car geek, I am in heaven right now because we're talking cars and we're talking TV. I'm here with Todd Payton. Todd's going to tell us about video integrated into the Racepak systems. Todd, what are you doing that's new?
Well, what we've done with the Racepak data link software, we've incorporated a lot of the cameras out there, the camera technology. We've seen certain brands come out with the lower priced cameras, like the stable imaging replay cameras that we offer at Racepak. And now you're able to take the data that you take either from a stationary position outside the car or some actual in-car data footage and overlay it with the actual Racepak information.
Give me an example of an application where that would come in handy.
Well, what we've looked at is certain situations when you get out there and you see physically, did the car touch the wheelie bar? You know, if you're not running a wheelie bar pressure sensor, you can't really tell. And some guys on the starting line, they're either watching the car or they're watching somebody else or they're, not paying attention. You really need some of that, visual data. You get back there and you get 3 or 4 different reports what the car actually did. So it's really great to overlay the information, say, okay, yeah, that lines up. The car went out, unloaded the tires. I can see that. It was on the bar pretty hard, and you see it smoking the tires, which matches the drive shaft jump that you see on the screen.
Great, so there's a big performance element, but there's also a social media aspect too.
Absolutely. We're working currently on a newer version of our video software. Should be ready to ship here very soon and allow one-button export out to your favorite social media outlet, be it Facebook or some other form on the internet.
That's a great way to claim bragging rights, and you yourself are a top fuel driver, I understand. What are we about to look at?
We're going to look at one of my poor exhibitions of how to drive a top fuel dragster, or perhaps how not to drive a top fuel dragster, but we shot some handheld video from the starting line and watched how far I got the car out of the groove and eventually put a cylinder out as a result of the loss of load. Okay, so what we're about to look at here on this run, I'll bring up the video. We can click on the video tab here in the data link software and select the view video. I've already imported the information from the card from the replay camera. So I click view video and you see we get a screen up here showing the car on the starting line. So I'll expand that and slide that window over here. Now you can see we're just leaving the starting line at this point in the run. You'll see that as I increase the cursor, as I move it down track, you'll see that the video that we're seeing here matches perfectly with the information we're getting on the screen. So you can see as I begin to run a slalom course on what's supposed to be a straight line run, you'll see that I eventually get the car pushed over enough and you'll see an irregular flame pattern. If I bring up, I believe it was cylinder number 6 that stopped playing at a certain point in the run here. And you'll see on this blue color, let me perhaps choose a different one, this yellow color here, you'll see that the flame pattern gets a little bit irregular as I get the car out of the groove a little bit, just as we come up on the finish line. And then that's one of those things that the driver would say, well, why did it drop a hole? Well, it certainly wasn't anything that I did. Well, now the crew chief can come back and take a look at it and say, yes, obviously, if you weren't 3 feet off to the side of where you should have been, the car would have been hooked up fine, would have had enough traction to go ahead and perform the way it should have.
Admittedly, that might not have been your finest moment at the racetrack, but I can see how this would prove valuable to improve for the next run. It also incorporates in-car cameras, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. Any place you can position one of these replay cameras, which they have a bunch of chassis mounts, so we've had them in-car on the driver controls, back on the engine, on suspension components in hard-to-reach places. So it gives you a very complete view of what's actually going on with the car. So you can't just see from a stationary standpoint how far the driver is running off the track. You can see how much your shock travel is actually moving if you, and coordinate that with the shock sensor. Or we can see whether or not pedals are moving or what's going on inside the car as well.
Well, I can tell it allows you to really roll up your sleeves and get in deep and find out what's going on in your car while you're on the track. If you want to learn more, check out racepak.com, Power TV at PRI 2011.